It's three guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, two guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
Oh, it's two guys, not
two
three
guys.
guys this week. So that's it's a late fine again that Jay's racking up. It's a Miss the Podcast fine, and it's a no Swifty Searles Chiefs banner in the background fine. So.
Yeah, for sure. That's a lot of fineage. By the way, we need to add this up. I'm owed some serious dollar bills here. And you know what we used to do with fines, right? We used to go to Vegas.
I'm dude. It's like my wife and I love to do various holidays in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I know.
If you guys ever want to join the Mackeys for random holidays in Vegas, you guys.
Well, that's the problem is you always go. Don't you go on Christmas? And it's like, Phil,
We've done that before. Yeah.
I can't leave the kids on Christmas to go.
No, you can bring them. Yeah, bring
Uncle
them.
Phil, hey, we're gonna go roll some dice.
Hey, fam, just let me know. I'll see you guys in
I'll be there later.
weeks.
You know what the problem is when you go to Vegas, 5 minutes turns into like 13 hours, and you're like, I swear I said I'd meet him here for breakfast, and you're like, that was yesterday, sir. And you're like, holy shit, that was
on Tuesday.
24 hours. Oh my god.
Your flight actually left about an hour ago, and this is a good segue because you know what? When the Mackeys go to Vegas, we are sure to bring our Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink. And by the way, you can help the show when you get into some Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink, in addition to helping yourself. So listen, I'm 40 now. I'm the oldest of the bunch. You guys are in your 30s. We don't bounce back like we used to. We're adults. We have responsibilities. I can't be just dragging around like an idiot, feeling like garbage the next day. That's where Z-Biotics pre-alcohol comes in. And it's insurance for tomorrow after a night of having a good time. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct of the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct that causes rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. When you make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night and drink responsibly, you'll feel your best tomorrow. So go to zbiotics.com/O-line. That's zbiotics.com/O-line to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use O-line at checkout. 100% money back guarantee. zbiotics.com/O-line and use the code O-line at checkout for 15% off. It's just a great deal. Great little deal there.
I have to tell this story. We're leaving Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with Staley. Shout out Joe Staley. One of the greatest. Love Joe. Joe. We're sitting there on this bench. We've had a rough go at it. We've had a rough 3 days. And it was great, right? We had a lot of fun. We did the O-line thingy. We had a lot of steaks. We rolled a lot of dice. We did a lot of wild shit. We had fun. So we're probably looking at each other really disheveled. And we're like, God, that was such a great time we had. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes Andrew Luck. And he just sits down next to us and he goes, what's up, guys? And Joe looks at me and he's like, is this really happening right now? Or is this from like last night? And I look at him and I'm like, I'm not sure. Are you real? What is going on right now? I'm like, dude, it ended up being one of the greatest times of my life because that flight from from Vegas to San Francisco was like, 45 minutes. But he sat in front of us. We sat in first. And Joe and I
was this like after the season and you guys were all just randomly?
Yeah.
So he was with the Colts at the time?
Mm-hmm. And we were just sitting there talking and I'm sitting there and I'm not even kidding. I'm looking at people and they're looking at us and they're like, is that Andrew Luck? And I'm like, and they're like, why is he talking to two hobos? And Joe and I even had a conversation about it after, like, what do you think people thought? Do you think that he was like helping us, giving us money? Or do you think that they actually thought we were pro players too? I was like, I don't even know, dude. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now. Andrew Luck but the fact that he wanted to like sit down and have this real conversation with us when we had just left Vegas, we were like, not today, dude. This is the worst time to do this. Because he just sat down and started talking and we were like, no, we're not going to talk about that right now.
Not now, Andrew. Not now.
You don't understand what we just went through. And he clearly did not go through it because his wife was with him. So
I want to know
connecting.
What's the hardest Andrew Luck has ever partied in his life?
Oh,
I need to hear.
Somewhere in Stanford. I guarantee you they'll never get out.
So?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Come on. You never have more fun than when you're in college. And those guys at Stanford with Harbaugh, they can do that whole like, oh, Jim was really tough. Hit me with the Colt fine. Go ahead. But
Yeah, did you and Andrew do your secret like cult handshake or?
Well, it was funny because when he came up, Harbaugh was obviously our coach, and we all started talking kind of about Jim, and that's why we were like, just not the time, dude. Like, because we started having like flashbacks. The season was just over, and we were like, we're about to go back to that. Shut up. He was like, oh, but you guys love doing all those extra practices. I can't feel my feet right now, okay, dude? Leave me alone.
Was his neck beard just wafting in the wind?
Just the way he sits there. He's like, hey, I'm dead. You're like, oh, God, this guy.
It's too bad. So maybe a topic for another day. But
well,
I'd love to see an alternate universe where that dude's full career plays out. Just if like a better offensive line, or he just got beaten down by the injuries.
Oh man,
yeah. Like what does 10 more years of that dude in the league look like?
It looks like Peyton. It looks exactly like Peyton. I mean, he was the next disciple. And for those that don't understand, we used to watch their film a lot because we're going into the playoffs a lot, and they would always play the Ravens, and so we would have to watch a lot of their film. And he would take hits that it was like, I don't know how he got up from that. We should check on him. Holy shit! Like he was just two guys high and low, and you were like, just. Are they going to ever protect this guy? Like, I remember vividly watching them at the Ravens stadium in the playoffs, and he was getting sacrificed. And I was like, boys, if we let them do this to our quarterback, shame on us. Like, it's just a shame what they did to him. He's such a great kid. We should get him on the show. We should. And just so everybody knows, I've reached out to a few people. Hopefully we'll get some Kyle Long on here soon.
Let's go.
Let's
do it. Hey, if we can get Andrew Luck, I feel like
I'll reach out to Andrew.
Teron Armstead was great last week.
I
would say offensive linemen and quarterbacks, because they're kind of an extension of everything you guys do, right? And maybe some running backs. Yeah. Maybe some running backs.
I'm not gonna lie. I reached out to Fraley. I want him to come on the show so bad. I do. I keep reaching out. I'm like, dude, you got to come teach us some things, man. Like just
it's a couple things. You don't have to give away the whole Lions.
You don't. But it's so
little things.
If you guys could understand how cool he was, like he was such a great person in the room, and he was such a mentor figure for us, and we were in such a bad time, and he was like, he was always like, hey, it's gonna get better, and he would always say that, and I'd be like, it's not though, Hank, it's not. He'd be like, it's gonna get better, and I'd be like, it's not. But guys like that, man, you got to listen to him, because you would understand why these guys fight so hard for him. And honestly, I'm not surprised to see that he has such success, that he was a former player, and he knows what the rooms are like. He sat behind Tony for a while. Like, just awesome, dude. Got to get him on here.
Let's do it, man. Yeah,
let's go. Let's get into it.
Tuesdays are kind of a fun guest day, but we will get into some dumb football questions. We'll make our picks. Jeremiah from the Wilderness sent in his picks for the 4 games this week here. You can always submit your dumb football questions, and I think Thursday is going to be the day that we do the most of them, but keep sending them in via the YouTube comment section. He's the Rhino Alex Boone. I'm Phil Mackey. We got our guy Jeremiah Searles, who's coming back next week. But if you haven't, click that like button and the subscribe button on the O-Line Committee YouTube channel as we make our way toward 40,000 subs, and tell your football loving friends about the show. So I'll ask the first dumb football question. There's a game this weekend. It is one of the featured games. You got the Ravens, you got the Chiefs, and one of these teams, barring a tie, is going to lose and drop to 1-3. The game is in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So my dumb football question for you, Alex.
Yep.
Whoever loses and drops to 1-3, are they pretty much screwed for the season? Are they cooked? Are they done at 1-3?
That's a hell of a hole you're going to climb yourself out of. 1-3, like nothing about that even sounds sexy. I will say that both these teams that are about to be 1-3, I would never sleep on any of them. Both of them. Like at 1-3, I go, yeah, that's still a hole you're going to dig yourself out of. But if it were 2 teams that could do it, it would be you two, right? Like you look at the firepower that
the Ravens were 0-2 last year and made
dude. The Ravens, and here's my biggest problem with them. They're such a conundrum. They have a great offensive line. You have a great, phenomenal quarterback. You have great receivers. You have a great tight end. You got one of the best running backs. You should be winning games 45-0. Wait, you are, but the problem is the defense. And it's like, dude, the minute Matabike leaves, it's like, what is going on? It can't just be this one guy anymore. And that's to me why they're such a conundrum, because it's like, it's not even like the defense is playing off the offense, right? Like anytime Lamar has the ball, it's exciting. It's exhilarating. It is, because you're like, he could do something. He could do something dangerous, right? And forever people were like, oh, he's just a running quarterback. And now you're like, no, he could throw it the whole field. And he's pretty damn accurate down there too. So that gets dangerous too, right? Like everything about this. But then when you watch other teams play their defense, you're like, this is so not exciting. This is going to be just a back and forth slug match. The problem becomes, I don't know if the Chiefs can hang with them this week. And I'm being honest, like I'm trying to look up their injury report to see, are they getting him back? Is Xavier Worthy coming back?
Let's get the
He's
latest.
The X factor in this game. If he takes the top off this defense, I don't see this defense stopping them. But if he's not there,
he was full practice yesterday. Full participant practice yesterday.
See, man, you might have some problems now, right? Like now they're getting their guy back. Now they just need to keep him away from Kelsey. And Kelsey, you need to stop running into him like a dum-dum, looking more like a tractor than an actor. But it's going to be a hell of a hole to climb out of. It's almost amazing that we're looking at this going, that's right, the Ravens or the Chiefs are going to be 1-3 in a minute. And we're like, wait. Wait, what? What are we talking about? Like, this is crazy. But you get Xavier Worthy back. This game has just gotten so much closer, right? And it's in Arrowhead, right?
It is in Arrowhead.
I don't think Lamar's won a game in Arrowhead yet, has he? I think he's over there. I'm almost positive he's over there, because I remember last year was the year with Isaiah Likely, right, where he stepped out of bounds. Remember that like toe was that was like the I don't remember the year before, but I know they didn't win last year. Yeah, I'm looking at this going, man, whoever it is, if it's the Ravens, they have a better chance to climb out of that hole, right? Because their division's kind of a little wonky.
That's the
right
thing.
Now.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Right?
So
if it's the Chiefs, you're screwed. You are screwed looking down a barrel.
We'll make the official pick later in the show, but I think just to answer my own question, I guess if the Chiefs fall to 1-3, and the Chargers are already 3-0 with 3 division wins, it becomes mathematically at that point you're basically hoping for a Chargers collapse to win the division. So now you're glued to the wild card chase for the rest of the year. I think if the Chiefs lose this game. I don't think either team is totally cooked, because these are 2 of the 4 best teams in the NFL, and the Chiefs defense is I trust the Chiefs defense the whole season to lay a baseline, and the offense will start to figure it out. So
that's what the equalizer too for this game is, because look at last week. What they give up 6-7 sacks. The Ravens gave up. And so you talk about a Chiefs defense that's going to come after you with everything they got. Like, dude, Spags is. We're probably going to be breaking down the game like, look what Spags did this week, right? Now he's got double corner cats coming off the edge. Why? Because Lamar likes to escape to the outside. So it's like, let's surprise him out of nowhere. And it's going to be so fun. How is this not the Sunday night game? What is the Sunday night game this week? I have to know.
Well, it's Packers Cowboys, right? I think it's Packers Cowboys.
I'm not even. Listen, Micah's going to just. Yeah, he's going to do whatever he's going to do. Yeah. This should have been the Sunday night game, because whoever's going to 1-3 is looking, woo.
This is the Romo Nance game in the 4:25 Eastern slot on CBS. But I would say peeking their schedules too. All right, which team is more screwed at 1-3? The Ravens. The Ravens, after this game at Arrowhead, don't play another road game until Thursday, October 30th. They get a home game against struggling Houston. Home against the Rams is going to be a war, and then a bye week, and then home against Chicago. But if you can win 2 of those 3 games, then you get Miami on the road on that Thursday night. You got a Cleveland game coming up too. Baltimore's schedule has a lot of Cleveland, Cincinnati, Jets on it, a struggling Houston team at home, whereas the Chiefs at 1-3. They go at Jacksonville the following Monday, home against the Lions, and then upcoming after that, they've got Washington, at Buffalo, and at Denver, a home against Indianapolis team that's tough. So I actually think Kansas City has the longer schedule road.
That sounds terrible. Am I the only one looking at that? Like, I do not want to play in that. But you're right. The Ravens, you turn around and you're like, okay, Miami on a Thursday. Okay, they're probably going to have a new coach by then. Let's capture that. We got a bye week. We're going to win. Hey, don't. You said it, not me.
Miami's going to get 2 weeks of motivation from whoever the interim coach is, and then they're going to.
That's going to be the win.
Miami once had Dan Campbell as an interim head coach. Remember that?
Listen, we're not going to talk
like
about
10
Dan
years
like
ago.
that. We love Dan on this show. We're not going to put him back down there where they.
I'm
made
saying
him,
if you're Miami, don't you regret the one that got away?
Yeah,
you could have had
he was
Dan,
the interim.
hired Dan Campbell, dude.
You could have, but instead we were like, no, let's go out and get this guy.
Let's get
There's that guy.
We'll get Joe Philbin, and we'll get these offensive nerds to coach our team.
Yeah,
Adam Gase. All right, let's go to Mark here. Has a dumb football question from. It was the Sunday night game a couple weeks ago from the Vikings-Falcons game, but it pertains to any game.
Okay.
He said there was a scenario where the Vikings had the ball 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line, and they were called for a delay of game. But the Vikings offense was up, ready to run the play, and the ref was literally standing between J.J. McCarthy and the center until the play clock had dwindled to 2 seconds.
Late sub.
I was flabbergasted as to why, but I looked it up on Google, and when the clock's not running, the offense has to allow the defense to complete their substitutions. So yeah, how does that work? So clock stops, and you want to run. We're going to run 12 personnel, bring in the tight end.
Yeah, that's when
the ref doesn't allow you to snap it until the defense brings their subs in.
He comes out and stands like this and makes everybody wait because you can't. Because a lot of times what they used to do was they would late sub people in, and then they were trying to run on and off, and you would catch them all the time. So now you have to let them sub. So if you sub too late, you have to let them do it, and you get whatever time is left. And you'll see guys at times too. Like I think there was also a game where we could see KOC going like this. This is us telling him to pump it. We need you to pump that 40-second clock again. And listen, there were times where there was so much chaos going on that like people were talking to the ref and he was talking back, that, like he didn't realize what was going on, that you could like every now and then get him to be like, hey, bump it, right? And he would just give you a free 40 and like you cheer the other sideline like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But, like it's because there was so much chaos going on more towards the end of my career. They were more serious about like, no, we're not going to give you more time. And you'd be like, oh dude, because you'd be like stealing time from the play clock, like, hey,
well,
we
so
sub, they sub.
The second part of this question is, I get the idea behind the rule, but that makes me wonder, could this rule be exploited so that, okay, a defense sees the offense break the huddle late and they intentionally drag their feet on making substitutions. So offense makes subs and the referee's holding up the play clock's running, but the referee is holding up and the defense is like, oh yeah, we're going to make subs because they're making subs and we'll just take our time getting out on the field here.
No.
How do they police that?
I think it's literally like they'll run out and they'll see that you sub, they'll run out. And once they see that you've gotten your guys on, they'll look over and be like, if you're not ready, we're going. Boom, we're good. Like they just give you to the time that you're set and then you're gone. Boom, here we go right now. And that's why if you are going to late sub, it's risky because they will pause you and they'll hold you. But if the defensive end, number one, depending on where you're on the field, if the defensive end's dragging their feet, they're offsides. 2, they could have 12 men on the field. Like they don't, and you're not thinking that in the game, like, oh, I'm just going to go slow because they're waiting forever. It's like, no, because that's a risky thing. They could flag you for several things. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Corey Larson has a dumb football question. Is it ever possible that a wide receiver could tip off the defense if the play will be a run or a pass? I would think some receivers would be way less tense for a run play or give off certain body language. I'll even expand this question. To what extent do the receivers and the running backs give away what the play is, run or pass to defenses? You've told that is it Frank Gore story?
Yeah,
Frank.
And ever since then, I do notice it a lot more. Like when they do close-ups of the other day, they were doing a close-up of Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. They were showing his face, right, just his face, and you could see him like scanning everything. And so instantly, I'm like, I bet it's a pass.
He's looking for the rusher.
He's looking for his guy, and then I have 4 weeks, so I'm looking back over here. Okay, it's him and him. Got it. All right, here we go. Whereas if you really look at them on a run game, they're so like, I know where I'm going. I'm going here. And you're like, okay, cool, got it. They give it away. It's just, once again, there's so much chaos. And if you think that we're not out there making dummy calls, like normally by the second series, I'm throwing out dummy calls. The center's throwing out dummy calls. The tight end's throwing out dummy calls because we can't have them picking up on what we're really doing because then they'll just blitz us the whole day. So I think a lot of it is like, can you trust this guy? But like, you're not really going to see a receiver that's like shaking because he has to block a safety. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, hey, I think this guy's blocking because he's really scared. It's like that doesn't really happen a lot. But it'd be funny to see, wouldn't it? God, that'd be hilarious.
What is like generally when a center makes a dummy call? What would that What would that sound like, or what would the context be? If so, you guys know that you're doing this when you get up to the line of scrimmage, and he starts making a dummy call just to throw the defense off. How does the offense know that that's a dummy call, and then what is he saying for his dummy call?
I mean, it could be like we're going to go up and we're going to run power to the right, and the center could come up and just be like, hey, 5-0, 5-0, and instantly they're like, oh, is this a pass?
5-0 is a pass pro set. Yeah, okay.
Is this a pass? And then all of a sudden you deuce this guy, or you're coming off, and at times they'll come up and you'll hear a random like, hey, ram, and all of a sudden you'll look over and you'll be like, it's zone to the left, and they oh, got it, and all of a sudden the linebacker's like, hey, watch the screen. Okay. And you're like, oh, okay, I get what's going on.
So if you guys know that this is a run play, it's outside zone to the left is the play that's been called in some form. The center knows that he can dummy call something to the right.
Yeah.
And you guys will know, yeah. This is a dummy call, right?
I mean, it's the call is 30. I'd say the play back in the day was like double left, 97 Bob, right? So you'd be like, okay, it's wide zone to the left, right? Why do we call it Bob? We always bring this up. It was named after Bob McKittrick, the offensive line coach for the 49ers. I'm actually looking at his Bob McKittrick award on my wall. It's Bob. Bob was the man. Psycho. Everybody calls it Bob. It was kind of his play, his staple. So it was a wide zone, right? And all of a sudden you'd come up there and say they were like, hey, watch zone. I'd be like, hey, deuce. And they'd be like, burp. What'd he say? Deuce? Is it power? Could this be a power set? And then all of a sudden, white tits, like, go, right? Like instantly it's like, they're thinking, we're thinking. A lot of times you throw out silly calls just for no reason. At times in the pass game, we would change up our vernacular because we always kind of wanted to get caught on TV saying silly things. So at times we would say super inappropriate words. And it was like, if I say something super inappropriate, it means we're in birds. So you'd be like, okay. And then all of a sudden he'd get up there and they'd be like, hey, he'd be looking and he'd be like, dildo, and you'd be like, no way he just said that. And the D line would be like, the fuck did he just say? And you'd be like, okay, I guess I know what's going. And that's when they were like, seriously, what did he just say? Did he just say that? It was hilarious. We'd have so much fun with stuff just because over time people pick up what you're doing. Like they'll be like, hey, if they say Ricky, they're all sliding to the right, and so we're going to do our twist to the left. Now sometimes you can't get away from it because you're in 2 minutes and everyone's got to know what we're doing and we're screaming shit, and it's like they're like, hey, they're sliding this way, you and me, we're going to twist this. So sometimes they beat us, but for the most part we're always trying to stay a step ahead of them.
Yeah, I suppose in 2 minutes you're literally just outwardly communicating to get your own team organized, right? It's harder to.
And it gets confusing. I used to like a lot in 2 minutes when they would be like, hey, the guy I mic is automatically the declaration. So if I mic to the left, we're automatically in a Lucky. I'm not going to say anything. If I mic to the right, we're in a Ricky. And a lot of that was kind of, he'd be like, hey, Mike. And we wouldn't say anything after that. And they'd be like, well, which way are they sliding? Right? Because when you get really good, eventually you just need to know the mic. And then you'd be like, okay, well, we're going to the right. Or, hey, we're going to the left here. And that's eventually where we worked up to when I was in Frisco, where they could just come up like, hey, Mike's 5'5", and everybody be like, all right, cool. And we all knew where we were going, and it was made it harder for the defense to figure out. But then our tendencies were like we would slide to the field more than we would the boundary. And so now all of a sudden we were getting more boundary pressure, right? And then you'd go to fix it, and in order to fix it, you'd have to communicate. So we'd get up there and they'd be like, hey, Mike's here, right? 5'5". So everyone would be like, all right, we're in a Lucky. And then we'd see it and they'd be like, all right, here we go. Hey, new Mike. And then they'd be like, hey, now they're sliding. And we'd be like, damn it, gave it away.
That's the crazy thing, man. Like if there's a bajillion things I've learned from just doing this podcast with you guys, but the war before the ball is snapped.
It's crazy.
The mental and the chess war. But then there's once the ball is snapped, then there's the physical part of you've got these elite athletes that are 300 pounds in the trenches doing combat, and then it's 3 hours, 70 plays each way, and the cardio while you're trying to think and diagnose. And if you have one lapse, it might lose you the game. And
dude, it could cost you your quarterback. Think about it. One lapse up front, and hey, I thought we were sliding left, but we were really sliding right, and you let a defensive end through. We see it all the time, right? Like at times you're watching games and you see quarterbacks. Dude, who was it? Who was I just watching? Was it Kyler Murray? Like got decapitated from behind. Nobody blocked the defensive end. And it's like, we're in problems now, right? Like, because the problem is when you do that, the next meeting, coach is like, okay, now why are we not talking? Right. And you're like, well, I thought he knew. And it's like, you thought he knew? What did you telepathically tell him what to do? Like,
yeah.
Why are we not communicating? And eventually somebody has to be like, listen, coach, we just didn't want to tell him we were sliding left. And it's like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Like
so you'd rather
them know,
clearly communicate so that you guys are on the same page and they know what you're doing.
100%. And every coach will tell you that. I would rather you over communicate so that you guys know what you're doing, because if you screw this up, $60 million could be laying back there, and guess what? Someone's for sure going to get cut. Someone is definitely. It could be the coach. It could be the O-line coach, like, because your boys are super tough and they think they don't have to talk.
What percentage of like in any given game, like 50 or 70 plays, whatever you run offensively, what percentage of the offensive plays do you think the defense knows quite a bit about what's going to happen before the snap, and it doesn't really matter?
I'd say probably 80%.
Like they kind of know, like this is a run, or this
really good feeling. Yeah, they know. Number one, based on personnel, right? 2, based on formation. 3, based on tendencies. So the personnel, hey, 11's out there. They're probably passing it, right? Good chance they're going to pass this, guys. So now we're going to go into a passing situation defense. But then all of a sudden they get into this run formation where it's like a bunch, and you're like, but they're not in bunch. They're only in bunch when they run toss. So now all of a sudden you've alerted the Mike, and he's like, hey, everyone's watching this over here because these 3 dipshits don't line up here ever, right? And we've talked about this too. The best player that I ever heard do it was Luke Kuechly. I mean, he would get up there and he would just call it out. And it was like, is he in our huddle? Are one of you telling him what's going on? How does he know that we're running a smoke screen to the right? What the fuck is going? Like, I'm not kidding. We broke the huddle and he'd be like, what was the one play that he called out? He was like, oh, yeah, he was like, ready, break, watch the tunnel screen. I looked at Kev, I go, kill it right now. Give me into something else. And he was like, there's not a kill on it. I go, fix the fucking play, dude. He just told everybody what next play comes up. He's like, watch the power. It's power here. Looking at myself like, did I say something? Did you say something?
Did someone drop the quarterback wristband?
What's going on right now? He knew everything.
So it's kind of when you say 80% of the time, generally the defense has a pretty good idea based on their studies, which means that most of the plays that you watch in a 3-hour NFL game, it's really just about out executing against a team that kind of knows what you're going to do, right? That almost makes it more impressive when you see offenses complete these big chunk plays, or especially running plays, that they kind of knew you were going to run the ball to the left even maybe, and you still busted a 25-yard run. You know?
Exactly, because we executed, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. The Fizzling Soda 1154 chimes in here and says, I want to know, how does the team choose which guard deserves to signal the center to start a play when you're in a hostile road environment? And does the center need a certain slap in the butt or a hand extended to know when? Like, how does that work? And people ask too, what's the guard doing, turning his head back on the road? Well, you tell us about that whole thing.
This is great, and I don't know this officially, but I'm pretty sure that we were one of the first to do it, and I was the one that did it for us. And what it was a direct line of communication between me and Cap, and the reason we did it was because Goody, and I love Goody to death. He is one of my favorite people in the whole world. He's coaching at the Panthers right now. He wasn't very flexible, so he didn't like to look between his legs, and he wasn't a big turnaround kind of guy. Like, he was kind of like, I'm stuck in my set and I'll get us in the right page. He was brilliant too. And at the time, teams were using that. Like, when the center would go up to look, they would switch the defense. So you'd start in an odd, he'd go to look, and they'd go to an even. And so then when he'd come up, it'd be a completely different defense, and he'd have to re-ID everything. And then all of a sudden it was like delay of game, and people were like, okay, let's make the guard look back. So what would happen is I would look back at Cap, and we would have a conversation. If he wanted to kill it, if he wanted to kill it to somebody special, if he wanted to kill the play, if he wanted to do something different, he would just give me a hand signal. We had so many hand signals back in the day. And it was super fun because at the time, I'd be looking back and Goody'd be like, hey, the defense is moving. And I'd be like, what are they doing? And he'd be like, they're going to, they're in an over. No, they're in an even. And I'm looking back, trying to listen to Cap. And I'm like, okay, well, the defense is moving. I'd be back. And as soon as I would tap, the count from there was set, go. So as soon as you'd come back, you'd tap and it'd be set, go, and the ball would get snapped. And then we'd have a million variations off of that. But what was cool about it was you'd have to learn so much of the offense because you had to know why Cap was trying to do what he was trying to do, right? Like at times he would tell me we're killing things and he'd be like, hey, we're going to kill this to blunt, or we're going to kill this to power. We're going to kill this to something else. And I'd be like, okay, I got to know, and I got to know why, right? Or he'd be like, hey, we're going to kill this, and this meant like, or one of these meant like, hey, we're going to go the other way, the complete other way. And so it was like, I'd have to turn around and be like, hey, instead of Lucky, now we're going Ricky. And everyone's like, trying to figure out what did Cap see that we didn't see, right? Dude, there's so much going on. And it was so fun too. And I mean it. I remember being in so many big moment games where I would turn to look back at Cap. And in the moment, he would look at me because we were really close back then. And I mean, we were best friends in the moment because we had that direct line of communication between each other where he would come to me at times and be like, I'm going to kill this week for this. And like, if anyone asks, we're doing it. I'm doing it. And I'd be like, okay, go. You're the boss. Whatever you want to do, boss. Mm-hmm. Right. And I loved him to death because he was so awesome. And I would look back at him and he would give me this fucking shit-eating grin all the time. And I used to love it. And I'm not kidding you. There's a million pictures in my head of like different stadiums, like Philly, the Super Bowl, Seattle, a lot in Seattle, where he just, let's do it. Let's go. Right. And so fun to do that. But one of the things that nobody knew was every once in a while, the game would kind of get boring in my mind, right? So I'd be like, okay, I'm sick of this same old tap all the time. So every now and then I'd come under and smack the shit out of Goody's ass. And he would get so mad. Physically mad, verbally mad. You would look at, he'd be like, you're dead. I'm going to snap this ball and I'm going to hit you. Because, you're tapping the leg, and eventually you just come up underneath his ass. And he was like, oh, it's on. He'd snap it.
And slap him into a false start if he tips over.
It was so fun. At times I would tickle him. I'd be like, hey, we're ready to go. And he'd be like, leave me alone. Dude, it was so fun. We used to have so much fun with that. Some people didn't find it as funny as I did.
I mean, I love it. I think it's also because it is in the last 10 years. So it does make sense that it was kind of around like when you guys were
I know I was one of the originals to do it because we did it, and then the Steelers did it with Ramon Foster, and I saw Foster at the NFLPA, and I was like, I see you've copied the whole. Because at first I would look back, and then it became this thing where I would stand up and turn around, right? And then it became this thing where the refs were like, you can't do that because you're becoming.
How do they determine that it's not a false start? Because technically you're kind of getting up out of your stance, right?
That's it. As long as you go slow. I'm not technically, my hand is not down. And so that's another thing. There was a play, and I'm trying to think of who just did it. I just saw it in a game. I was watching one of my, I obviously everybody knows I train college guys for the combine. I was talking to one of my guys from Ohio State. I'm talking to him and I go, hey, I noticed on this play, you're in a 2-point, you go to a 3-point, and then you go back to a 2-point. I go, that's illegal. You can't do that. The rule is once your hand goes below your knees, it has to go all the way to the ground and stay in the ground. So you can't pull it back up. And as if you are going to stand up, the refs were always like, just do it slowly. As long as you do it slowly and not abruptly, it's not a false start, right? Like, I'm allowed to move around. Technically, I could shift to the other side. That's how we used to do it. But as long as we weren't abrupt about it, the problem was when we were in Seattle and we would run the ball, I had to look through my legs. And so I would lift my butt up and look upside down. And so sometimes they said I got a little bit close to jumping off sides because they were like, you move so fast. And at times it was because I wanted them to either jump off sides. I was trying to draw them off sides. And then I would
if they jump off sides and it's off of a move that you made, that's
some of them were okay
murky area.
Some of them were okay with it because I was so nice about it. Like, I was like, can you believe this guy? Like, I'm just looking for the snap. What do you want me to do? Yeah. Dude, we used to have so much fun. And the D-line would get so mad about that stuff, but it was great.
That's awesome. Some good dumb football questions there. Do you want to make some picks here, my friend? You want to pick some games?
I'm so excited.
Pick a couple football games.
Weeks are getting harder, dude. I find this week to be challenging.
There's 4 games. So we do 4 games every week, and I'll pop up the standings from last week here. We have a big Minnesota audience, and just to shout out a couple things for the Minnesota or Upper Midwest portion of the O-line committee audience. Viking Fest is coming to Minnesota. That's right, a bold bold celebration of Viking heritage, Norse mythology, living history. This is the world's, or I should say the country's largest Viking festival. I don't know that it's the world's largest, but it's definitely the country's largest Viking festival. And it happens at the Dakota County Fairgrounds weekends, October 4 and 5 and October 11th and 12th. You can get tickets at vikingfest.com. Viking-inspired food and drink, contests, games for the family, Viking combat and live weapons demonstrations. You can forge your own Viking gear. And there's over 5 stages of music, comedy, and theater as well. Get your tickets at vikingfest.com. Also, thanks to the Minnesota Lottery, the Vikings scratch game is out this fall. This could be your year. This could be your day to win a bunch of money. Every time you play, you have a chance at $100,000 and great second chance prizes like cash and Viking season tickets. So say I'm in and play the new Viking scratch game from the Minnesota Lottery today. You must be 18 or older to play. So football. Jeremiah sent his predictions in via satellite here, but you kind of cleaned up last week while Jeremiah and I struggled. For the YouTube audience, you can see our graphics department hard at work here. Jeremiah went 0-4. I went 1-3. You went 3-1.
What game did I lose
last week, dude? You pick. Let me see here. What did you have last week?
I thought I went 4-0.
Did you go 4-0?
I'm pretty sure I went 4-0.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. You did go 4-0 last week.
Listen, if it's one thing I take serious, it's these matchups, okay? Like, I do a lot of back and forth in my mind, and that's why this Baltimore KC game is so hard for me. And so technically, I
had that. This is funny because I had the math
right
on the season standings. You're 11-1.
I know.
And Jay and I are both 7-5. So we're already 4 games behind you in the standings after only 3 weeks.
And I'm ready to take this week again, dude. I'm loving these matchups that we're picking, and I'll start it with this Thursday night game. And I was talking to Jalen yesterday, Sundell, who is one of my favorite clients. I obsessed with him as a person, as an athlete. He is the nicest guy. I mean, it's so funny because he's from North Dakota State. He's one of the toughest, hardest working guys I've ever met in my life, right? Toughest dude to wear shoes. Mm-hmm. Has this long beard, right? It's kind of got a little bit of twang to him. And so when you look at him, you're like, oh, you're definitely from a farming family. And he's like, farming family? My parents are lawyers. Jalen, I knew I liked you. You're smart. You're funny. But I'm excited for him because we were talking last night, and he's talking about how he's going to play Calais Campbell. And I said, man, it's so funny because I used to play Calais. And I said, listen, this is what you do. And that's why I said it's full circle, my dude. I said, you got to enjoy the moment, enjoy the fact he's going to talk shit to you. But I said, I can't wait to watch you guys stomp the Cardinals. I mean, Seahawks, you know how I feel about them. I love them, the 1-2 punch. I think they're doing good things. I think that the Cardinals are playing good football. I think, you talk about the drops last week with Marvin Harrison Jr., and it's like, I get it. Listen, we're all going to drop balls, right? I'm not going to get on them, and it is what it is, but I think the Seahawks come up tonight, and I think they put a foot in that ass.
So you got Seahawks, and by the way, the 4 games for the audio audience that can't see the graphic here. Seahawks at Cardinals is the first game. Eagles at Bucs, Ravens at Chiefs, Packers at Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. Jeremiah has the Seahawks as well. I wish I could fight you guys. The Marvin Harrison thing is kind of weird. He was billed as this can't miss, maybe a guy that should go number 1 in the draft, and he just has had a hell of a time trying to catch the ball. My logic for Seahawks here, and I'm picking the Seahawks on the road, is just generally speaking, over the last 15 to 20 years, even with different head coaches, the Seahawks are just a competitive, buttoned-up operation, man. And they've got that Kubiak offense in there. They run the ball. They've always got, at worst, a competitive defense. And Sam Darnold has been pretty darn good through the first 3 weeks. So I'll take the Seahawks on the road. Eagles at Bucs. No Mike Evans in this game. I will note that. Jeremiah
Godwin's back,
has
though.
The Eagles. Godwin looks like he's coming.
Godwin's been practicing, but I will say
those aren't even their best receiver, for God's sake. So
Buka, are you kidding me? That dude is. But that's what, like, you pair him with a Chris Godwin, right? And they said that Tristan Wirfs might be back. And listen, I'm gonna shoot you straight. These 2 games right here in the middle, they're gonna be fire. They're gonna be straight gas. No breaks, all gas. You got an Eagles team that's just been craving to run the ball, right? They're just craving, and they're like, hey, man, we can't be letting this guy behind us throw us the whole game. But then you talk about the Bucs. Baker Mayfield, right? Like this guy, he is so special right now, and it's at the Bucs. Are they wearing the creamsicles?
I don't know if they're wearing the creamsicles.
You know
they
what?
Should, though.
I'm not sure who Jay picked, but I'd be an ass clown if I didn't pick the Bucs right now. After what I said this week about Baker, I'm telling you right now, I love the Eagles. You know, I love Jalen, what he does for them, but I think that in the Bucs house with what Baker's doing right now, you get Chris Godwin back. Yeah, I'm going Bucs. I'm going Bucs. I'm going Bucs.
So Jay's got the Eagles.
Oh, okay. You know what?
No, Mike Evans makes me a little nervous here. Both of these teams have been riding the edge in some close games. They're both 3-0, but it's very narrow margin. I've got the Bucs at home, man. I think the Eagles have been trying to figure it out offensively. Saquon Barkley, I called this, by the way. When you carry the ball that much in a season, almost every time something, either God forbid injury or productivity, it's hard to get back on that level productivity wise as a running back. So I'm feeling the Bucs. If this was flip flopped in Philadelphia, the home team is meaningful here.
I agree. I think it's going to be a big deal. And you talk about an Eagles team that they haven't been able to run the ball, and I'm not saying that they can't, because they can't at any point, but you talk about a Bucs defense that we all know what Coach loves to do. He loves to throw that blitz at you. He's going to be throwing everything at you. He's going to be challenging Jalen Hurts, and that's a scary thing because of what he did last week, but it's this run game that I'm like, man, if they'd have been running through some people, it's like, okay, this is the equalizer. But the Bucs, I mean, how could you go against Baker in his own stadium right now with the way that he's been playing? Like, he'll do anything to get his team to win, and I'm a ride with that, even though I love the Eagles. You know I do.
Ravens at Chiefs. Jeremiah has the Ravens on the road winning this game. I'll go next. You can pick last. Xavier Worthy, full participant at practice. Big boost if he plays. Obviously, we're making the picks before we know for sure what the inactives look like this Sunday, but we've in a game where both these teams are very desperate. I think the Chiefs are more desperate because they're so far behind in their own division. They already are down a tiebreaker game to the Chargers, and that Ravens defense is very leaky, and it doesn't seem like there's as quick of a fix as maybe the Chiefs offense getting Xavier Worthy back. So I'm taking the Chiefs at home, dude. Give me the Chiefs.
Hold on. I'm looking to see if Matabike is back. That's my only question. That is it. I need to know right now. Let's go Ravens injury, because you talk about last week what happened to them, right? When they don't have him up front creating pressure. I don't think they had any sacks.
He will not play in Kansas City.
Okay, then I'm going to take the Chiefs with you. I'm going with you. I'm with you. And if Xavier Worthy's back, this defense last week, they had problems against the pass game. We broke down the film. We were like, oh my goodness, look at this, right? In the play action, like, and I'm not saying the Chiefs are running the ball well, but they got Pacheco and they got what's his name?
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Like the 1-2 punch could be enough for a little bit of play action. And yeah, they didn't get home last week. I'm going Chiefs at home. Dude, at home, you're right. They're way more desperate for sure.
Yeah. And then the last game here, Sunday Night Football, Packers at Cowboys, the Micah Parsons game here. Who do you got?
Oh, I got Packers all the way. I got the Packers taking this, and I have Micah Parsons with 2 sacks. And if I get that correct, I want an extra point.
Oh, you're okay. So we're gonna do that now. We just get to throw out extra predictions.
That's what if I say 3 sacks? He's got to get 3.
I don't even know what the fine is. It's the changing the rules fine. We have to come up with a new fine for this too. Here's what we can do. We can when Jay comes back as a committee. We can come up with are there turbo bonus things we can add? You know, you get 5
you guys are going to eat it more than me, by the way.
How about you get I'm just proposing you get 5 games a year where you are so confident that you get double the points if you. So I would say I'm so confident that the Packers are going to beat the Cowboys. I'm going to use one of my turbo boosts for this game or something.
And if you're wrong,
then you lose 2.
Yep. Or you lose 5. You got to make this. You want to make this worth it. You only want to go turbo when you know something is up, right? Micah Parsons will not walk out of there on Sunday Night Football without a dub in his back pocket. Yeah. I promise you.
Okay, we're gonna bring the turbo boost idea here to the table when Jay comes back. But
I feel like
those
we
are
should
the
turbo
picks.
boost this game. You and I should. We should turbo boost this together.
The standings next week. You and I each have 5 extra wins. Jay's like, wait, what's
Jay's like,
happening?
wait a minute,
Don't worry
wait,
about it,
wait.
dude. When you were hunting elk, we invented the turbo boost. Don't
I'm
worry
winning
about it.
21-1.
Oh, man. All right, those are the picks. Your dumb football questions here. The O-line committee. Click that like button, the subscribe button. For the Rhino, for Jeremiah out in the wilderness eating his tater tot hot dish, I'm Phil Mackey, and this is the O-line committee. See you guys.